Hey, Chet's Crew and other viewers. Got another couple funny stories for you today. These ones aren't exactly Journey of Our Junker stories, but they do involve driving and some of the older vehicles we had. But to get right on with them here, after I had that little 84/85 Ranger that I told in the last Journey of my Junkers, a couple of years later I had picked myself up another Ford Ranger. This one was like a 87, I think, and it was an extended cab and had the 6-cylinder engine where the other little one only had the 4. And really loved the truck. It wasn't really a junker. I drove it until we couldn't afford to have 2 vehicles anymore, and then I just got rid of it, and it was still working good. But loved the little truck. But that was also a standard, and I don't know if anybody, when you're anybody that has like 2 different vehicles in your household, and one's a standard and one's an automatic, you'll understand a couple of these stories that I'm about to tell. So I was used to driving my truck, and that was standard, and my wife was driving a Pontiac 6000, I think, at the time, probably around in 1990, and so switching back and forth between the 2 vehicles sometimes got a little confusion. There was this one morning, it was on the weekend because I wasn't working, and I had jumped in the wife's car to go to Tim Hortons to get a cup of coffee, and we were living in Shelburne at the time, so wasn't very far to drive, and I got up prior to the Tim Hortons and went through the drive-through, and got my 2 coffees, and I had them sitting in the cardboard cup holder that they give us on the dash. So anyway, I went to pull ahead and stop at the stop sign at the end of the Tim Hortons parking lot, not thinking in my mind that I was thinking about driving my truck. And I went to press in on the clutch. Well, of course, there was no clutch. I was pressing in on the brake, and I went like that, like right ahead, and the coffees went flying down on the floor and stuff like that. It was hilarious. Like, spilt my coffee and Annette's tea or hot chocolate, whatever it was I was picking up. So then I had a mess to clean up. I had to pull up to the next parking lot, clean all that out, and then go back around the Tim Hortons and get the coffee and hot chocolate or whatever it was I was getting again. But yeah, that was just one little funny story, and I remember. And then at that same time, where I was working down at the fish plant, I used to drive the forklift every once in a while. And on a forklift, to go in forward and reverse, you have a little thing on the, it's almost like where the turn signal is on a car. You just push it ahead to go forward, pull it back to go backward. So anyway, I don't know how many times I had, like when I was driving either one of our vehicles, that I'd go going forward, and I'd push up on the blinker switch and pull back on the blinker switch to go forward or reverse. It's just one of those little things, like once you get used to doing it, it's muscle memory makes you do it. So anyway, that was another little funny glitch in the system there from driving multiple different vehicles. And then there was this time where I was working on my old truck out beside. The way we parked in the place where we lived in Shelburne, my wife would park straight in the driveway, and there was a little spot out by the end of the house that kind of made them go like her car parked here and mine parked like this way. So anyway, I was working on my truck at something, and I needed it started up for some reason, and I never did use the parking brake, and I always just kept it in first gear when I went to when I went to park it. So, anyways, I reached in, forgetting that it was the standard, reached in to turn the key because I needed it started. Well, not thinking that where it was in gear, when I would turn the key, it would lurch forward. And didn't I turn that key, and I was parked close enough to my wife's car that when when the truck started or lurched ahead from trying to start in gear, it would smash right into her front fender, and oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me. So anyway, luckily enough, the dent wasn't that bad, and I just reached up under the fender and popped it back out, and it just left like a little scratch onto it, and so anyway, but no, that was funny. I said, and for years, like, she never let me forget that. Remember the time that you smashed the truck into the front fender of my car? But no, it was quite funny. And so the last little one that I'm going to tell here, I was driving the green Chevy Celebrity that I told quite a while back in our journey of our junkers there, and he was I think we was living in the place where we are, or I know I was living in the place we are now, but I'm not quite sure if it was that car. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what car it was, but I was getting ready to go to work in the morning, and as soon as I get into a vehicle, like and my wife's been driving and the radio's going, the first thing I do is shut the radio off. So I was like in a morning stupor, and I had got up, and I had my travel mug in my hand, drinking coffee, and just I had already put the car into reverse and was idling backwards when I realized the radio was still going. So I had my coffee in one hand and kind of steering with my wrist, like say if this was the steering wheel, I was kind of steering with my wrist like that, with the coffee in my hand, and forgot that I was slowly coasting backward, just idling, and was fiddling with get the radio off, and I in the corner, we have when you're backing out, you can turn into a turning spot, and right at the corner of that turning spot, there was an old rotten apple tree, and that we hadn't got cut out of there yet, and as I was going backwards, forgetting that I was still idling slowly backwards, didn't I? When I was trying to get at the radio, didn't I back right into that old tree? And it was so rotten that when I hit it, like I wasn't like, I maybe only going 5 kilometers an hour, if that, but when I hit it, all the old branches from the top come thrash down on top of the car, and then smash bang down over the hood, and I was like, oh man. But luckily we never drove any good vehicles that would have made any difference if the branches fell down onto it. But anyway, just a few little funny stories of mishaps of getting confused, driving different vehicles at different times that I wanted to share with y'all. And so with that, I'll say, remember, if you can't laugh with me, laugh at me, but keep laughing. Have a nice day.